for our next fireside chat, which will be led by Dr. Renuka David, talking about the role of media in the portrayal of Kargil. I would like to invite Dr. Renuka David to please take the stage. Can we give her a big round of applause, ladies and gentlemen? And rounding out the panel, we have with us Mr. Shabbir Boxwala, an industry veteran who recently produced the film Shershaah, starring Siddharth Malhotra and Kiara Advani, in collaboration with Dharma Productions. The movie was a direct-to-OTT release. It won the Special Jury Award in the Feature Films category at the 69th National Film Awards and became the most watched film on Amazon Prime Video in the year 2021. He has also produced many Bollywood films like Jungle Cry, Mission Istanbul, and EMI, to name a few. With an incredibly vast experience of 30 years in filmmaking, he is the founder of Bollywood's production house, Kaash Entertainment, and apart from this, he is also a sensational storyteller and has written legendary screenplays. Welcome, sir. Thank you so much for being here. We also have with us Mr. Vishnu Varadhan Kulasekaran, Indian film director, producer, and screenwriter. A long-time associate of Santosh Shivan, he made his directorial debut in 2003. His subsequent films over the next 10 years, starring some of the biggest names, went on to become highly successful ventures, turning him into a household name in Tamil Nadu. He made his debut in Hindi cinema with Shershaah, produced by Karan Johar under Dharma Productions, for which he received positive reviews and even won the Filmfare Award for Best Director. Welcome, Vishnu. Thank you so much for being here. Dr. Renuka, over to you.
Well, Bollywood is just not an industry. It is emotions. Don't you agree? While seeing movies, we emote, we cry, we laugh, we get angry, we get upset. So I think it's a mix of emotions. And, when it comes to Bollywood and wars and conflicts and insurgencies, I think a lot of movies have been made on it. Remember J.P. Datta's Border a couple of years back, again made. And then we had Farhan Akhtar's Lakshya, again made on Kargil. And so I think media plays such a great role in creating awareness among the, more among the youth, to know the kind of the social impact and awareness of what our soldiers and officers are doing when they are, fighting a war. And very beautiful emotional panel which we heard Barkha doing in the morning was, she said about this young officer, and she was a rookie herself, and she says she met him and he was in his bunker, and his code name was Shershaah, and she just went and asked him. She said, so Shershaah, what next? And he says, "Ye dil mange more." And not realizing, she recorded it, and that kind of became a nation slogan. And today, I'm so happy because among all the war stories, there were this bunch of people who decided to select Shershaah, our own Captain Vikram Batra's story, and portrayed it in this blockbuster movie called Shershaah, which was released. And I think it not only created headlines, but it brought in so much of awareness of what really happened to this young captain who's so, how do I put it, carelessly, effortlessly, fearlessly, just sacrificed his life because he just thought that was what was his duty. And today I'm so happy to be in conversation with the producer, Mr. Shabbir Boxwala, and the director, Vishnu Varadhan, of this beautiful movie Shershaah, on a true life biopic on Captain Vikram Batra. And let's dive right into it. And I was told that some people over here, especially, had not seen the movie.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think Mr. Shashi Swarup, sir?
Yes, has not
I
seen
think
the
you've
movie.
not seen the film. At least you get to see the trailer first.
Yes, so we're going to put the trailer for those who have not seen this movie. Can we have the trailer on, please?
एक फौजी के रुतबे से बड़ा कोई और रुतबा नहीं होता। वर्दी की शान से बड़ी कोई और शान नहीं होती। और अपने देश से बड़ा कोई धर्म नहीं होता। जैन साहब, लेफ्टिनेंट विक्रम बत्रा रिपोर्टिंग सर।
क्या जगह है सर? जहाँ देखो वहाँ पिक्चर पोस्ट कार्ड दिखाई देते हैं।
ये जगह जितनी खूबसूरत दिखती है ना, उससे कहीं ज्यादा खतरनाक भी है।
हिंदुस्तानी फौज से हमदर्दी करने वालों के लिए उनके दिलों में खौफ बना रहना जरूरी है। और वो हाल करो हिंदुस्तानी फौजियों का कि कोई उनकी लाशें देखने की भी हिम्मत न जुटा पाए।
हम तैयार हैं जनाब।
हम शांति की रक्षा के लिए अपनी शक्ति का भी प्रदर्शन कर सकते हैं।
हर फौजी का सपना होता है कि कम से कम एक बार वॉर में जाने का मौका मिले।
तू सारे मार कट के वापस आ जाएगा।
कोई फिक्र न कर जानी, मैं तिरंगा लहरा कर आऊंगा, नहीं तो उसमें लिपट के आऊंगा, लेकिन आऊंगा जरूर।
अगली बार लौटेगा ना तो बस मेरे लिए आना।
If you're a फौजी, then you live by chance, love by choice, and fight by profession.
Lieutenant Vikram Batra,
Sir,
your code name is Shershaah.
तो हो तैयार? करोगे वार? एक अपना, जीत अपनी, दुर्गे माता की।
तुम लोगों की मौत आसमान से बरसेगी।
अपनी मौत को दुश्मन की मौत बनाना इंदिरा आर्मी को आता ऐसा नहीं।
जिद्दा ना होया मेरा ब्याह विक्रम नाल ते फिर मैं कभी किसी भी नाल ब्याह ना करूंगी।
कुछ भी हो जाए, तिरंगा हम ही लहराएंगे।
Target for Shershaah. Last message over.
ये दिल मांगे मोर सर, ये दिल मांगे मोर।
I'm going to start with you, Shabbir. So, what drew you to make this beautiful biopic, Shershaah, a story which really needed to be told?
Good afternoon, everybody. Thank you, Colonel David and Dr. Renuka, to invite us and give us this opportunity to be there today to celebrate the 25 years. Actually, I feel after listening to all the stalwarts and all the Mr. Malik and Joshi sir, our contribution is very little. And we are really lucky to be on this stage with all these guys, you know. So I would just start, there's such a coincidence that in 96, I was in Chennai doing post-production of my film called Gupt, which many of you must have seen. And I spent a month here, and Border was released that time. And I saw Border in a theater over here. So Border stayed on my mind, you know, because the kind of reaction people had in Chennai over the film. Yeah? So I could imagine what it must be in cities like, you know, Mumbai and things like that, because Mumbai and the metro cities, certain of the metro cities are not so exposed to the army world as they are in the north, you know. So Border left a very, very great impact on me. And I promised myself that one day I'm going to make an army film also. And I waited patiently till some friends of mine spoke to me about Vikram Batra. And they said that, you know, we're trying to make this film on Vikram Batra. Would you want to produce it with us, you know? So firstly, my ignorance, you know, I had not really, everybody knew Ye Dil Mange Mo, but we didn't know about, like I said, we are not so exposed to army in a metro city, you know. So I started reading about Vikram Batra, and when I started reading whatever was available on the Google, I was in a complete shock, reading his story. I said, this is a ready film, because it had all the elements. It had a lovely love story. It had valor. It had twin brothers, the family values. And I said, this has to come out on cinema. And the fact that he was just 23 years old got me thinking all night, I said, what were we doing when we were 23? We would be in a bar, a restaurant, whiling away time, while these young guys were on the front, they're fearlessly ready to die, So that point really hit me, and I said that this story has to, because I spoke to a lot of people, do you know about Vikram Pratta? And they all said, who Vikram Pratta, So I said, this story and many such stories have to come to the youth, and they realize that, at 23, at the tender age of 23, you could do so much for your country. So that's how I chose to make this film. My battle was first getting the rights. So I got Vishal, his twin brother's number. I kind of messaged him a couple of times. He never kind of responded back, and my heart was broken. Then one fine day, he messaged me back, and I said, what? He asked me, what is this regarding? So I said, I want to just come and meet you. So he said, no, just tell me what it is. So I said, I would rather come and meet you. Please give me a few hours. Wherever you are, I'll fly down and come and meet you. And he was kind enough to call me to Chandigarh. He is a banker. He works with ICICI Bank. And I went there, and I kind of, by that time, I had read a lot about Vikram Pratta. And I kind of told him that this is my interest, and these are the movies I've made. And I don't know, it was just a lucky day, and he kind of got convinced that I would be the right person. Because people are very wary, because his brother was already a hero, So to give his rights away into the wrong hands, so they don't want to spoil the legacy, of a guy who's already a hero. And when he said yes, and he said, but we'll have to go to my parents in Palanpur and take their permission also. And we did that. That evening, we drove down to Palanpur, and I spent the evening with uncle and auntie, Mr. and Mrs. Batra. And next morning was a new morning for me, because they all agreed. And they said, we'll give you the rights. And from that day, I said, now my responsibility increases, and I have to do all what I can do to make this hero back alive on the screen, And God was kind. Everything fell in place, and things started moving. And our research procedure, Vishal was very, very kind. He took me to each and every person Vikram had interacted or worked with. And one of the main pioneers was General Y.K. Joshi. And I would again like to thank him. I know I've thanked him a lot of time, because Shershaah wouldn't have been possible without his contribution. And I think so Vishnu sir will tell you once he stepped into the film, because he was the next main guy, because we needed a director to tell that story, the fantastic story. And he was also God sent. He just called me up one day from Chennai and he said, I want to come and see you. And the same way I did to Vishal, and he came, and in the same day, we decided he's going to direct the film,
Lovely, lovely, lovely. So I'm sure everyone in the audience, I'm sure, know who Vishnu Varadhan is. I want a big yeah. So Vishnu, you've directed many South Indian movies, many blockbusters, and this was your first Hindi movie, so to say. So what was that thing that made you say, yes, I'm doing this something which is so different from the genre that I've been creating, and this is something which is stuck pulling my strings of my heart or whatever. So what was that thing which really said, okay, I'm going to do this?
Okay, first, a very good afternoon to all. Shashitaru sir, pardon me for my language, because I'm a huge fan of yours. Because they would say, normally you don't choose a film, sometimes the film chooses you. That's what I completely believe in, because I was destined to make the film. That's how I would like to call it, because Shershaah was never in the plan initially when we started. Because I remember our writer, Sandeep Srivastava. So he had just got into the research after meeting Shabbir Bhai. And myself and Sandeep were discussing another story altogether. So at that point of time, so he was telling me first time about Captain Vikram Batra, because I gently asked him, so what are you up to? What are you doing? So he said, okay, there's a story about Captain Vikram Batra. During Kargil war, we were all in the school days. We know there's a war happening, so this big thing, but you're not aware of so many things. It's almost pretty much like today's generation, So you need to tell them who the heroes are, you need to make them recollect. That is how I was recollected. I said, listen, I don't know who's going to make this film. I don't know who's going to make the film, but when I heard about Captain Vikram Batra and read the story, I think this story has to be made. Whoever is making it is very lucky. That's how it started. So I was never in the thing to make. Later at one point, the more and more I kept discussing with Sandeep, I started getting more interested to know about him. And sometimes you feel like, you want to make that film. And I still remember Shabbir Bhai used to ask Sandeep, where are you always running around to Chennai and coming back, Chennai and coming back? So he said, I went to meet Vishnu. That's how we all met and we decided to make the film. The most interesting part is, always generally as filmmakers, you want something to really excite you. Okay? You're really hungry every time. There's always, they say, beg, borrow, steal, make a film. That's a kind of a passion you need to have. So when you heard the story, this is something which you have not experienced. And this is something which you have not heard. Okay, it's about reading in novels, reading on the net, internet is something different, but when you sit and talk to someone who's just sharing something, the experience is very different. And somewhere you connect to certain people, certain stories, and you wish you want to make this film. Until then, you never had an idea. I never had an idea of wanting to just go and make a Hindi film. I want to make a film. I was happy making films. So when Shershaah happened, it was, it's one kind of an inspiration. You just feel that butterflies. You just want to make it somehow. You just want to tell the story. And the journey was really long to make that film. Because it's process of couple of months of making. Forget about the couple of months of making. It's really you wanted to know more even before you wanted to make the film. That was the interest to actually get into it.
So, when we were talking, you were saying, Vishnu, that it's very interesting. I met Vishnu for the first time 1 hour back. I've forgiven him.
My apologies again.
So when we were talking and we were just discussing about the film, I asked him about the research, which now, Shabbir, I would request you to tell me about the research. But very interesting, what came out was Vishnu actually trained the actors for this movie for 3 months. He trained them. They just didn't come and shoot. He trained them for 3 months. So I'm going to come right to you. After, Shabbir, you tell me what was the research that went behind the movie? Because he is an icon. Vikram Batra is an icon. And then you needed to get the facts right. At the same time, there's a thin line on entertaining the audience. At the same time, not losing credibility of this icon that you're trying to depict. So what was the research that went into it?
So like I told you, when I finally got the rights of the movie, I realized there's a great responsibility ahead of me. So I told Vishal, we want to meet each and every one who was connected with Vikram, So the research went on for 1.5 years. So we went everywhere, like to the 13 Jack Battalion, the soldiers who had fought with them, some of them were there, still in the battalion. Joshi sir was a key person. Then Sanjeev Jamwal, who captured the 4150 along with him. He was also very instrumental in giving us, because he's spent a lot of time with him. There was Captain Naveen Nagappa, who had actually spent the last day with him. And he had lost his leg. So he refused to talk, because he had gone under the shell and he had taken a retirement because he had lost a limb, and he wouldn't talk about it. And the army also he wouldn't get in touch with. But we persisted and kept telling him, that please talk. And I don't know what got into him one day. And he said, now I want to talk, and he called me up. And So Vishnu sir, myself and Sandeep, we went to Bangalore. He was in Bangalore. And the whole incident, the one day before Vikram died, he narrated to us, and what transpired between the two of them was really fascinating, you know. And then,
Emotional.
yeah, very emotional. It built up to a climax, you know, because a guy who spent the last 24 hours with him was very important to know what went through his mind and Vikram's mind, you know. So, yeah, so most of the things whoever's seen the movie has been taken from his friend, his best friend in Palanpur. We've kind of covered each and every aspect of his life, you know. And Dimple was very difficult part also, because the love story was very crucial. I think so, like you've just spoken to all the women. Women do play a very important role sitting at home, you know, because she is not married till today. That's the biggest sacrifice. That was the part in the film, when I was reading in the research, played on my mind a lot, you know. How could one give up the entire life, you know, for the man she loved, you know. So there was so much depth and romance that doesn't exist these days. Today you break up, next day you have another guy there. So, and she's still waiting and living a life without Vikram, you know. So that was a beautiful part of the story also. And so Kiara, Vishnu sir made sure that Kiara went and locked herself up with Dimple for a day or two, which she did. And that's how she got into the character, you know, of Dimple, and played it so beautifully.
Amazing. So yeah, Vishnu, tell us about the training that now that you got into the skin. Do you want to add on to the research that went behind Captain Vikram Batra and the training that you did?
See, what happens, they had started the research, Shabbir Bhai and Sandeep, our writer. So when I got on board, you know, there was already a little material. But for me, I need to experience it. So we did that all over again. So all over again means we travel to every single place, I mean, apart from Bangalore, from your the entire north, where all the captains, the generals, and the colonels, where they were placed to meet them. The most fascinating part is you're talking about one man, Captain Vikram Batra, and you have everybody's perspective. You have everybody's perspective. Who's talking about him? So you're not met him. You're not talking about a hero who you have known. It is a stories that the people talk about him creates a perception. So you need to experience that person through this research material. Everybody, no, there's a very interesting thing when we went to Pathankot, yeah, when we went to meet Pathankot, had this big, which I think even Naveen Nagappa in Bangalore, he has this big portrait of Captain Vikram Batra. Now, it's very cinematic when you say, you have a big portrait of Captain Vikram Batra saying, if this man is not here, I won't be alive. And you have these stories being told to their children. It is Raghunath. It was in Pathankot, we went to meet Raghunath sir. So in person when you're talking, they tear up. So the difference is about you knowing the person firsthand and you're getting the first-hand information. And even when we were talking to Joshi sir was giving us information like what would happen in the battlefield. Sometimes for me, when I'm seeing, I'm hearing sounds, I'm hearing screams, I'm hearing chaos, which I was not able to take it just by hearing him speak. So it was that experience that you need to really take it to even deliver. It's something called, you want to be very genuine to what you're doing. You know, because my dad was in the service. He was in the Indian Army, I mean the Indian Navy. INS Kaveri ship, he served. I wasn't anywhere associated with anything, but now here you got an opportunity to make a film. Now, if this is an opportunity that you're getting, then you need to really experience it. Be so genuinely. Now, when it comes to the training part, see, honestly, 3 months of training, it sounds fascinating, but 3 months of training is absolutely not enough for any of them, for what really the soldiers have gone through. Because I traveled to the IMA, you travel to all these places, to Kargil, to Ladakh, and you met in many cantonments, you met the people, you saw them really working, and you saw them really on the borders. So I was telling these guys, come on guys, 3 months is nothing for you guys actually. If you ask me technically, they should be at least 2 years before. They should at least 2 years to get the very basics. To get the very basics. But I really wanted them to experience it. Now, experience it is not like Siddharth Malhotra and you have the other actors, you know, like coming out 3 different times. I said, guys, it's dedication. You need to give them one particular time, morning 5:30, 6 o'clock. All of you are there at the police grounds. And you need to know how to stand, how to salute, how to even just be present as a soldier at the very basic level. So that was very important for them. And the most interesting part to inspire them to come. We had Colonel Sanjeev Jamal also who came, who made his presence, and he would really talk, tell them stories, you know, tell them the experience. Because I think point 5140 was captured by Captain Vikram Batra and Captain Sanjeev Jamal. Is that right, sir? Yeah. So it was the first-hand stories that you're getting to. And to be very honest, what you're seeing on the film is just a very small thing of what actually what really happened. We couldn't take it at that altitude when we were shooting, and they were like few thousand meters above when they were fighting the war.
So when you were, making this movie, we've seen, you've heard the story, the panelists before, the condition of how it was, the weather and everything. So what actually went into it? Did you look into everything as in, this should be the location, so that the authenticity of the movie came out of, because so many movies are made on wars, but, you don't feel it. This movie, you actually lived the entire moment of it.
So if you've seen Shershaah, we actually thought we would go and shoot in Ladakh. But then Vishnu sir discussed with the production, and he insisted that I want to shoot in Kargil. And before that, there were not many films shot in Kargil. So we got special permission from the army to go and visit Kargil. We couldn't go to the actual peaks because that was impossible for the actors to, replicate and climb. The terrains were very, very tough. But we found similar terrains in Kargil. So at least we got the feel of the place, because that's where the war was fought. So we chose Kargil as a location, and ours was the first film shot in actual Kargil, So yeah, and there are a lot of other things. Vikram's first posting, we started off from there. So he was posted in Sapor. His immediate posting after he was commissioned was in Sapor. So we went and saw. It was it's not a very safe place to go to, but he made sure that actually Vishal also wanted to join, but I think so Joshi sir didn't allow. Vishal, Joshi sir, you remember? He said, Vishal can't go to Sapor, It is a terrorist bed. So we and few assistants, we went and saw where Vishal was posted the first time,
Vikram.
Yeah, sorry, Vikram was posted the first time, where he stayed, his things, and we replicated the same thing in the movie,
Wonderful. So, Vishnu, tell me now, your father was in the Navy, is it? Okay. So you have a little bit of Fauji blood in you. Wonderful. No, I mean, we have literally born and grown up, most of the audience over here, we've kind of lived our Fauji life. You being a complete person from a civilian background, you could kind of capture the essence of what was happening in Kargil. So how deep did this leave you? How deeply were you impacted by what you were making, as in what you had heard maybe before you made the movie?
See, I think just during the process, I couldn't comprehend most of the things what I was hearing. Because you have read and, like as I told you, read in comics and everything. But when you start visiting those places, for example, just to add on, when we visited Sopo, he just put it very simply saying, okay, we visited Sopo, is where he was posted. But I'm not kidding, that place is scary. It's literally scary because I've seen that kind of situations. And I think most of you are aware of this film called 13 Hours of Benghazi. Okay, the 13 hours they were trying to hold the fort, the army. Is that kind of a feel when I met two of the captains over there, they were telling us, because the place, it just has that vibe of the tension. You can feel that. And visually, you had the bullet holes all over the walls. And you are living there. I'm not kidding. When you really experience those things, like even when you entered Kargil and when you are just looking at the peaks, it's just breathtaking. You can't comprehend most of the things. You know, that you forget the fact that you're making a film. You forget everything. At one point, when you're just getting into this process, sometimes you feel like you just want to live that life. You just want to do some things. You want to do some justice. You want to serve make some purpose of your life. I think I got the opportunity to make this film. I think this will be one film of mine, irrespective of whatever films I'm going to make or what I've made. It will always be close to my heart. And the respect towards what the soldiers are doing. I think words are not enough. You can't just express through words. It's unbelievable. Actually. It's unbelievable. At one point, I feel at this point, if I was allowed, you just want to go for training, at least do some service at some point of time in your life.
How impactful was the movie on you, Shabbir?
Oh, it was beyond our expectations. The love we got from Shershaah was, tremendous. From all sorts of countries, cities, we got called. In fact, Vishal got a call from American soldiers, One morning he called me up excited. He's saying, American soldier watched this, and he called me up to congratulate about Vikram, that your soldiers fought this war, which was impossible. No other soldiers in the world would have fought this. Only our Indian soldiers dared to do that, So that itself is such a big, because they were pinpoint targets, So no soldiers in the world would have done that, So walking into your own death. So yeah, and it is still very fresh. And the biggest, we got national award, we got all the awards. But the biggest award for me was the Chief of Army wrote me a letter and congratulating that you made such a wonderful film. So it's still framed in my office, and I every day look at it and feel proud.
That's so nice. I've been asking you for a copy for a very long time, Shabbir.
He wrote to you also.
He hasn't given me a copy yet. Anyway.
So General Nanawari wrote a letter, and it was a very sweet, letter. So that was my biggest achievement after making this movie.
I think, I'm so sorry. I think the most interesting part is, sometimes when you're making a film, okay, you would say that, okay, I want to make this a blockbuster. I want to make this. But I think especially when we were making it, I never expected. Because you were so engrossed in it, chalo yaar, isko ek blockbuster de denge. Let's make. I think purely you were just making it out of your heart, which is what actually reflected on the other side of it. We never expected this kind of a response. Honestly, I didn't, because I was just enjoying making the film. That's all. Nothing mattered after that. That's all happened.
So, Vishnu, tell us any interesting anecdotes you had with the army while shooting the movie with the army. I mean, like, where everyone's saying, hey, kya bana rahe ho? This is not authentic. You don't even know what we're doing. Anything which kind of...
Oh, that we went through every day on the shoot, actually. That we were just going through every day.
I would like to tell you about the initial... Whenever we shoot, we go there for prep, for the shoot. And we went there early. And our directors and all were working on setting up everything before the actors came in. And one of the art directors who was working, he came running to us one day and said, Saab, humne ek bomb dekha. Yeah, so there was a Major Jamwal who was given to us by the Indian Army. Whenever you do an army film, they give you a kind of a liaison officer who stays with you all the time. And I told, what a bomb is this? And we all went and saw it. So it was a shell which was from the war, which was there. And then he called in the bomb squad, and they said it's live still, which was very, very scary. So the shell. There were many shells like that later on we found. And the chill it went up here. That the soldiers were amongst this live shells all the time being thrown at them, So we decided to detonate it, the army, and we were asked to go like, how many meters was it to stay away? So I said, is it going to blast so much that we have to go so far, you know? And the noise it made, it like shattered the, you know, whole place around with the echo. So I can imagine what our soldiers must have gone through, you know. And this guy, after the bomb he was carrying it all around. And I was so scared that it still goes on. You know, what will happen?
I don't even know if you're allowed to say all this things, Shabbir bhai, first. But anyway, so the thing is, because over years, you know, you have them sliding and coming down, you know, over years. It's been more than 20, 25 years, it's been sliding. And your art directors also, like he was talking about that, sir, ek pada hai sir, uda ke wahan rakhte kya? I said, what do you want to take, move it? You can't even touch it because you don't know if it's, what is it? Now, that's when we learned, I think, Joshi sir, 150-meter kill radius, is that correct? Depending upon, yeah, I think that particular shell, it had a 150-meter kill radius. And I wanted to really see it when they were officially detonating it. So we requested. So I said, you can. So more than 170, 80 meters away, we were on an elevation, you know, on an elevation standing. And we were like, okay, chalo, we have seen, we have exploded cars, we have exploded huge bombs on sets, on the movie sets. You know, you have seen a lot of things. What is this going to be? Let's just experience it. So we are sitting and watching. I'm not kidding. It is, the earth shook. The earth shook, it just shattered, and you had this one stone which came and just hit my tip of my glass more than 180. I was just sitting really right, really far, and absolute safe. Now your heart stopped. And for about 10 minutes, we couldn't move from that place after what we saw. Now, this is something which is very, very small. Just imagine the kind of explosions and the experience that they would have gone through at that point of time. That was unbelievable. And the discipline is next level. It is like, you know, looking at, you know, we were appointed I think 8th Jackrif. 8th Jackrif was appointed to us to be part of the crew. We would get really scared because they would be there bang on time. If it's 5 o'clock, it is 5. So sometimes I make sure that I go by at least by 4:45 too. If they don't, I'm not kidding, they do the whole day shoot. And one small mistake they do among themselves, they are made to carry their soldiers, they are made to run up, run down. And the whole day shoot, we are exhausted. We are exhausted. And these guys are just running up, running down. It's part of their punishment. Just because of some little mistake. I mean, it's not even nothing got to do with the set actually. The kind of commitment, and they enjoy the process. That is what was more fascinating. And like this, if you want to really talk, so there's so many things that we experienced. Sometimes at one point of time, I want to write the book on just the making of this film. Yeah.
So during our conversation, a very interesting topic came up, the authenticity of a movie. We were talking about how in the US, they work closely with the army brass to get the rights to make a movie so that it's as authentic as possible. But you had that challenge. So what is that you feel that if you were allowed to, you could make the movie, any other movie, I'm sure that there would be many in the pipeline to give it real authenticity, because these are some unbelievable untold stories which need to be told. Indian audience need to know what is happening in the border, what are the sacrifices made by our soldiers, what is it for the soldiers' family, their widows, their children, what are they going through. And unless it's authentic and unless it touches a nerve, it's no point even making the movie. So in future, in case you all are keen to make something, what is it that would help you to make it as authentic without, that's the thin line between entertainment and authenticity. So how would you like to overcome it, and what is that would help you? You can answer, but I'll start with you.
Yeah, so, the government and the industry have to kind of come on a same platform and just not look at it as a commercial film, That's where you get all the machineries and the information and things right. They practice that in UK and USA. So the similar model has to be, drawn out, and we get to genuine filmmakers, they can scrutinize who's making, select the subject, what information it is giving out. Sometimes you can't give out certain information which are very vital for the country. So Yeah, so like tomorrow, if American wants to make a film on NASA, he's given all the facilities to go in NASA and shoot, which is very difficult over here to do, you know. So Army does cooperate, but they have their limitations also. So, but I feel if they believe in a film which is being made and they need to portray a certain hero rightly, they have to go all out with the industry and collaborate, you know. So then only we can achieve the standard what the international films achieve, you know.
So that's interesting. What about you, Vishnu?
See, I think I just completely agree with Shabbir Bhai, because now for me, the authenticity as a filmmaker, you know, it's the same requirement that you would need. Apart from that, as a filmmaker, I would want my actors, for example, let's just take Shershaah. I just wanted to add something on that. Now, the preparation for Captain Vikram Batra, I've not met him. I don't know how he moves, how he speaks, what is it? And the most fascinating thing is, you see his twin brother, Vishal. So you have an assumption that probably he's of course looking like that, you know, but the kind of the way he would behave or the way he would walk, and you say, okay, he's like this, he's like this. But when you hear from the other soldiers, the way he was, I think he was more filmy than even the film people actually in real life. Now, when it comes to Siddharth to play, now I can't have Siddharth imitate Captain Vikram Batra. That would not look good. You know, I just wanted him to take the information and be the person. Don't try to imitate. Like if you would just move, you don't move like that. You know, you just try to. This is what was pretty much for every single actor. And also in the making, if you see, you try to make it so real that you didn't try to, you cross the border of being over jingoistic, because it's already there in the blood. You don't have to pump it up too much. You just need to get the feeling out. That was more important, you know. And throughout, if you see the graph of the film, if you actually notice the film, you don't have this heavy, high-speed, dramatic movements. Even we were shot in high speed, I made sure it's all on 25 frames, which is 24 frames, which is normal live action. Except for the moment of his death, that was only in high speed in the film. Rest of all the action, everything was just on normal speed, just to give you the impact.
So, Shabbir, do you have any other movies on the armed forces in the pipeline, and what platforms are you planning to bring it? And, you know, do you think you could match up the scale of Shershaah?
If I couldn't surpass Shershaah, I wouldn't do it, you know. So, but I can share very little information because I can't reveal the name of the platform, but I'm planning a web series on the Indian Army. All my permissions are through. I've got great 8 stories to tell in the first season. And one of them is Captain Yashika Tyagi. So she's right here. And I hope to carry on this and tell more stories about these heroes. And people know, the younger generation especially should know who the real heroes of our country are.
Like the other day, my husband Colonel David and I were just talking. And, you know, we have so many heroes and heroines from the cricket world, the sports of cricket. They're doing amazing, there's no doubt. Or we have from the movie industry and, you know, people. But who knows, there are just 2 living PVCs in India. And one of them, of course, we're very honored to have him with us, Honorary Captain Sanjay Kumar. But who knows about them? In the US, we have if there's a martyr, if there's someone as equal to a PVC, the street is named, everyone know about it. But today you just ask the youth, who are the 2 living PVCs in India? Do you think anyone would be able to answer? So how, as people from the media, can you help us to get the real heroes into your real world and actually give them that celebrity status?
See, I feel out of all the media, cinema is the most powerful medium to actually, you know, portray somebody in somebody's life. If you see cricketers or anybody, like Vikram Batra right now, he's known now all over the world. People in London talk about him, his movie, and he's said, "Sachi mein isne aise kiya, sachi mein Dimple ne shaadi nahi ki." So, you know, so I feel cinema is the most powerful medium. So, and we need to tell more stories about these heroes. And like I said, and it'll be helpful if the government takes a stance also, because shows our nation as a powerful nation, you know. When we have heroes like this, we know about cricket today, everybody's scared of the cricket team. So they should be scared about our soldiers also, the civilian. Okay, we can't mess
Deserves a
around
round
with
of
Indian
applause.
army, you
I
know.
think, yeah, we should be telling the stories of our soldiers through media, through the celluloid platform. Vishnu, patriotism, when we talk of, what do you think? Movies like Shershaah, of course, it evokes a kind of patriotism among youth, the way cricket does when India goes into quarterfinals and finals of semi-finals, finals, the entire country, the youth is awake, they're cheering, they're hooting. What do you think about patriotism among the youth, you know? How is the fervor, especially after movies like Shershaah? Do you think we need to bring out more to educate our youth who want everything instantly, you know? It's that generation. How do we bring that into their lives?
No, I think, honestly, you can't say that, you know, today's generation, they're very patriotic, yes, except for when it comes to moments like cricket matches and everything, you know, they are ready to just go on head on. That's when you know they have it, but then they're just diluted and just lying away and they're completely off. I think these kind of stories, see, because it's a feeling, okay, you need to provoke that feeling. So if you need to be provoked that feeling, they need to be reminded. So I think stories like these and in your history, I think needs to be reminded to them to know what they are from, what is their culture, where they are, who are the people who made them what they are today. You're living in a place like this. These are the people who have sacrificed their life for you. So I think these stories are very important to provoke that feeling. I think that is very important, these kind of stories to be told. Now, I'm so sorry. I think, sir, I'm so happy that sir is here. Now, I remember meeting him at IMA. Is it correct, sir? Yes, at IMA. I should just tell you about, it's just a very small thing. I'm so happy to see him here. We were walking through IMA and we have heard a lot about him, you know, his achievements and everything. We were just going and we were generally talking and he came by. I think that was near the firing range.
Yeah.
Is it right? Near the firing range. And I would just hear those bullets. You know, you could just know that the soldiers are being trained. You're just approaching, you're fascinated to see that, you're fascinated to see this. And here walks, sir. So he walks in and they introduce, I just froze. The gunshots, the bullet shots, everything just vanished. I just froze because it's like seeing your superhero because you've heard, you have seen. And I mean, you have heard stories, you have known. But now when you're seeing him, literally I froze. Literally I froze. I had no words actually. It's like seeing your super. I think that is the kind of a feeling which kids need to be told. So thank you so much. It's an honor meeting you, sir, here again.
We are very fortunate to have him with us. And I see I have 2 minutes, 20 seconds left. So I'm going to wind up. First of all, I must thank Vishal to have, got you, Shabbir, on board because I remember calling Vishal, telling him that we're doing a 25-year Kargil special and he's a, nee, ma'am, I'm there. I'm part of your panel. Whether you invite me or not, I'm in your panel. Then when he realized the dates coincided with his mother's Barsi, he couldn't make it and he said that, okay, I'm going to get you the producer of Shershaah. You have to meet him. And he's this amazing person. And I said, wonderful, you know. And I'm very grateful that, and through you, I think, through Supriya, Vishnu also came on board. And I think from the army, most of us are very happy and grateful that you've come out with such a beautiful movie on one of our heroes, Captain Vikram Batra. And you've told the story to the world. So a quick question as a last question to you, Shabbir, is that, you know, you have told me that this has touched you, this has impacted you, there are a lot of anecdotes, this thing. But as a civilian who has made this movie, suppose you had an opportunity to do Shershaah again, would you do it differently?
I don't think so because the way we planned it and made it, I think so I left no stone unturned, you know. And finally, I have to talk about the icing on Shershaah, which was Dharma Production. They also, like, they were not there from the beginning. So when Karan heard about the story, he knows me, used to know. He called me up one day and he said, Shabbir, you're making this movie Shershaah, so let's do it together. And my last worry was to get a good studio to distribute and market it. Otherwise, how would it reach to so many people? So I couldn't believe myself. And in 5 minutes, we shook hands and he said, I'm with you. So Dharma production played a very important role also, because without them not being there and Karan's presence, you know, he's got a great ear for music. So the music which you heard in Shershaah, he and Vishnu sir created that music, you know, so which was also an integral part of the film. And yeah, the 8 stories now which I'm telling, like each story is outstanding, you know. So they like Shershaah maybe even better. So
Really looking
which
forward
I can't reveal right now. Only guy who knows is Joshi sir. Confident.
You told so much, you can just say it off. Actually. It's okay.
No, because I'm in a contract with the platform, so I can't reveal much. Yeah.
Vishnu, my last question to you is that, first of all, we are very happy you've made a beautiful movie. It's been very authentic. A lot of people have come out emotional, have been very, very touched by this movie, because to a large extent, you have retained the authenticity of this movie. So, as I had told you earlier, that this was the first movie that you were doing in the Hindi film industry. Yeah. So, are you excited if such scripts again come to you? Is your research going to be as thorough as this? Or you say, Shershaah was good, I don't think I can match this, I'm not going to try something like this again?
No, that's true actually, because you cannot do the same thing again. You know, it's not possible, because every story is a new experience. Every film is a new experience actually. So, everything is very different. And yes, of course, there are many scripts that had come like this, you know. And it's just that for example, there was a book, it's called Spitfire, which is based on how the Indian Air Force was formed during the British India. So that was fascinating. Now that's again a new experience. And then we wanted to make a show out of it. And you don't know when you would be making it. So there are many stories that are coming. And we have a lot of stories to be told. So I think I would not have this lifetime to actually tell all these stories, but you try.
Very proud that a person from Chennai, St. Beats, Loyola, who's today telling stories of the armed forces and directing. We're very proud to have you on board.
Thank you.
And thank you for doing what you've done, both Shabbir and Vishnu. It's been such a pleasure being in conversation with you both. And I hope you're not nervous now.
I didn't look at Shashi Tharoor.
That was the first thing, Dr. Tharoor. He said, oh my God, he's sitting in the audience. I don't think I'm not going to open my mouth. You do all the talking.
Like when she told me that sir is going to come, I said, he's the best speech maker. How am I going to talk in front
I don't think it looked like that, did it? I didn't. I don't think so. Thank you so much. We've had such a lovely afternoon. And I'm sure all of you agree that it was so good to dwell into the making of Shershaah. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much, Doctor. And
thank you for us having.
One second, Shabbir.
Can we have another big round of applause for our dignitaries, Mr. Shabbir Boxwala and Mr. Vishnu Varadhan? I'd like to call upon Lieutenant General Joshi, along with Colonel David, to please join Dr. Renuka in presenting our guests with the token of our appreciation. Another big round of applause, ladies and gentlemen, for Mr. Shabbir and Vishnu Varadhan.